We started the block with a soundbite from the president speaking last night in Youngstown, Ohio. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, the Democratic congressman from Ohio, who represents that district, Representative Tim Ryan. Good to have you on the show this morning. I want to dive into the health care debate with you in just a moment, but I'm curious about the motto or slogan that the Democrats have come up with. What is it again? I can't. A better deal.
It's great, less filling.
Tim, it's not good.
Well, first, I want to thank President Lincoln for showing up in my district yesterday.
Thank God, yes.
If I knew he was going to be there, I would have went back home to hear the speech. I think that I'm not a real slogan person. I think it's a good first step because it's an agreement among Democrats that we need to talk about economic issues, and I think that's a good sign. We're going to talk about jobs. We're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about opportunity. Those are all really good things. I would like to see it be a little bit more aspirational instead of just transactional in the concept of tax credits and the kind of pieces that were in there. I think we need a little bit more of an aspirational message as to what does the country look like? What's America 2.0 look like? And why can the Democrats help working class people in places like Youngstown experience the American dream in that new economy?
Mark Halperin?
What do your constituents who voted for Donald Trump believe in that you also believe in?
Well, I think they want affordable health care. I think they want jobs. They want to see more investment into communities like Youngstown. And the funny thing about this, Mark, is that that's what he campaigned on. He campaigned on expanding health care, Medicare, Medicaid. It's going to be beautiful. Everybody's going to be able to afford insurance. He talked about $1 trillion transportation and infrastructure bill, which would completely make huge investments into towns like Youngstown across the country. They're in total agreement on that. The problem is, the opioid crisis. He said he was going to try to deal with that issue, which is very big in places like Ohio. But in each instance, the transportation bill, he hasn't even put something in front of Congress. It's not like he's saying, look, I have a jobs bill in front of Congress, $1 trillion, we're going to get people back to work, drive up wages, shrink the labor pool. He doesn't even have it here. And then on the health care piece, he's going backwards by supporting two bills, both in the House and the Senate, that are throwing people off of health care, making it more expensive and reducing coverage for things like addiction and treatment. So he's gone backwards on those things.
Congressman Ryan, Elise Jordan here. You have vied for a leadership role in the Democratic Party, and right now it certainly seems to be, confusing to figure out who is leading the Democratic Party. What do you see on the horizon for this party, and who do you see emerging as potential leaders?
It's a very polite way of saying that. I appreciate that. We're clearly in a transition here coming off of President Obama. This happens periodically in politics. I don't think it's anything worth panicking over, but we have a lot of young leaders that are emerging. I clearly am trying to play my role in playing some form of leadership within the party, but we got guys like Seth Moulton and Hakeem Jeffries and Cedric Richmond coming out of New Orleans. Linda Sanchez is in our House leadership out of California. So there are young leaders that are starting to emerge within our caucus and within our party. And over time, they're going to be on TV more, and people like them when they hear what they have to say. But it is a new generation of leadership.
Congressman Ryan, this is Eddie Glaude. In the New York Times today, there's a wonderful editorial about the real civil war in the Democratic Party, that it's not really a conflict between those on the quote-unquote far left and those in the center, that it's really a difference or a divide between those who are invested in our current institutions and those who are deeply suspicious of those institutions. So folks who are really skeptical about democracy as such. What do you make of that distinction? Is that the real civil war in the Democratic Party, on your view?
Well, we have a lot of issues we're discussing. I think that is one of them. That a lot of people, especially I think when you get into the heartland, I think you get into the South, there are suspicions about the institutions and about the party. And this is when I talk about our brand isn't necessarily connecting in those areas. That's what I mean by that. It's that our people think that the Democrats haven't delivered for them over time. Now, the argument I would make is that in many ways we have with health care, with covering 20 million more people, with some of the things we did when we were in charge. But clearly there's this huge economic gap, the gap between the rich and the poor, the lack of manufacturing jobs, the way automation is coming and hitting communities like ours. You know, we have $1 billion steel mill in Youngstown. There's about 400 people that work there. You imagine $1 billion steel mill in 1950, it would employ tens of thousands of people. So we still got to wrap our arms around it. And I think that's where the Democrats really have an opportunity. Trump's not presenting any really structural changes to the economy on how he's going to help working class people get back to work and then also change the trajectory of the economy for the next generation. So the Democrats have a very wide opening here. He can do all the rallies he wants, and he can throw the red meat at the base and talk about Mount Rushmore and Lincoln and all the rest. But at the end of the day, in 18 months and then in 3.5 years, people are going to judge him on what has he done. And he's not proposing anything that's going to structurally change. So we've got to step in as Democrats and say, look, we're the party of solutions in the new economy, and that can help heal that rift that we have within the party.
Congressman Tim Ryan, thank you very much for being on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.